Hello there. In this video, let's learn how to build a character customization from scratch using React. Do not worry, this video is beginner friendly and in this video, we will learn concepts as they come along the way. Let's first see how the project works. When the page first loads, we have a default image here and we can customize the character just with a click of a button. Let's try to change its background. Not only we can change its background, we can change its other parts like accessories. Instead of manually generating styles, we can also randomly customize the character. If you like the image, then you can download in the PNG format. Let's get started. First, let's start by creating folder on the desktop and then go to VS Code, select open folder and open the folder we just have created. After selecting the folder, right click on the empty space and select Open in Integrated Terminal. A terminal will open and then type npx create react app and then folder name. Here I am giving a folder name frontend. You can give whatever you want. It will take quite some time to create. Now it's time to code. For the beginners, it's good to remove the source folder and create the new source folder because creating everything from scratch will help you to solidify your memory. Right click on the source folder and then create new file and name it index.js. And now type import react from react, import react DOM from react dash DOM and import app from app folder and then app.js. This app folder we haven't created yet, and in this folder we will keep all our files and codes and functions to make our project clean and tidy. To render our app in the browser, type react dom.render, then app, then document.getElement by id, and then select the root element. In the src folder, create a new folder called app. Before we code, if you want to follow along, then you have to download images and then index.css and images config file called asset.js. Download links are given in the description. Now go to index.js and import CSS. In the app folder, create a new file called app.js and then type RFCE to create a boilerplate for React component. To get this feature, you have to install an extension called ES7 React Snippets. Now let's go back to our code. Let's start by creating all the classes required for our project. We will wrap all the classes in a class name called wrap, and then we define another class called Alpaca where all the images will be contained. It has two sections, left and right section. And in right, we have two classes, right top and right bottom. In right top, we have the accessories for Alpaca, and in right bottom, we have the styles. In left, we have art itself and the download and random actions. In actions, we have download and random. Now import assets from asset.js file. As you can see, asset.js file contains an object which has accessories for Alpaca and then the styles for Alpaca, which are stored in the form of object. The value of inner object contains the location of that image with respect to app.js file. Now let's create all function.js file in which we will keep all our functions in one place. Since this is a beginner video, let's not overcomplicate things by creating new file for each component. For now, let's try to keep all the functions and components in one place. Let's make button maker component which will make all the keys present in asset.js as a button. Button name will be same as the key of the asset.js file. Button's gonna have an onClick function which we have to define and pass it as a parameter. And each button will have a unique ID which is also the name of the key. And then export button maker. We have to go to app.js and import button maker from all functions.js, and then go to right top class and call that component. We are giving location which is asset.js file which has all the locations of the image. Now let's check how it's working. In the terminal, type in npm start. As you can see, we have successfully made buttons When you click on inspect, you can see each button got an ID. Now we have to make buttons for styles. Create a use state called selections which shows styles of click button. By default, I am giving here backgrounds. Let's import use state from React. Now let's create the styles button using our button maker function. As you can see, in location we are passing inner object. When we open browser, we can see our styles are loaded perfectly. But when we click on another button, the styles doesn't change. So now we have to make a function which will change the styles whenever a buttons are clicked. In all function.js, let's create change right bottom function which has two parameters. One is set function from the use state which will change our selection variable, and a event handler from the button itself. This is the syntax for event handler to be passed as a parameter. We are changing selection variable to the ID of the clicked button. Let's export this function, change right bottom, and in app.js we will import comma change right bottom, okay, and then now assign this function to the right top class. Now when we open our browser, it should be working. Yes, when we change the accessories button, the styles also changes. A quick note, whatever name you give here, you should use the same name to call here. Let's quickly recap how the buttons were assigned. Now let's import the images which we want to show when the page loads. In the React, we have to import images which we want to show. It wouldn't be enough to simply give the location of the image. For example, here if I try to show image by giving the location of the image, it wouldn't work. See, now let's give the variable of the imported image and console log it to see what is in this variable. As you can see, our image loads perfectly. When you console it, you can see that the variable has the data of the image. Now let's create an object image data where the keys represent the primary button, that is the buttons in the right top class, and the values are the use state. When you console imgdata.backgrounds, it contains an array in which the 0th index contains the value and the first index contains set function. Here I forgot to import leg image, so let's quickly import it. Now let's make a component which is going to render all images from img data object. Const image maker which takes a parameter img data, which is an object, create images by using map function just as we did in buttons. Image contains the source. Here it means that we are taking the 0th array of the img data. Style, position, absolute. All the images are correct with respect to character. So, so stacking one top of another will be enough. If we are giving here position absolute, then we have to give its parent class position relative. Now let's export image maker. Then quickly import in app.js. Image maker, image data is image data. images are loading perfectly. By any chance, if your images are not in proper order, then change the order in img data object that we have created. Now we have to customize image when we click style button. For that, we will give values and classes to styles button. We will give location of the image in value and class name will be their respective parents button name. We have to give value and class name in button maker function itself. Class name should be given only to styles button. As you can see, now the button got class and value. We, using this value and class of the button, we will import the image and add it to img data object. Now that we have given value and classes, we have to import the image whenever we click the button. If we try to import all images at start, it will make our site slow. So we want to import a specific image when a specific button is clicked. Const get image, it has two parameters. First is the location of image and second is a set function to set the data of respective image in the img data object. Now let's make a function that will change the data in the img data object which has use states. Customize image has two parameters. One is the set function from the use states and the event handler from the button itself. From the event object, we want to get class name of the button, and the value, that is location of the image. Using those data, we will dynamically import the image using getImage function. Now export this function and import in app.js and assign it to styles button, and let's see whether it's working or not. Our functions are working perfectly. Now we have to make a download function which will download our image. First, let's add two buttons in the action class. Make download image function in all functions.js. This function doesn't take any parameter. It will download a specific class. First, let's target the class which we want to download, that is the Alpaca art. Now we have to import a module called save HTML as image. In the terminal, type npm I save html as image. This import will give us a method, and we have to pass the class element which we want to download and give the file name. Let's give myart.png. Export this function and add to download button. Now let's create the final function random. Bear with me, this function will be quite tricky. We are taking asset.js file. From it, we are randomly taking one style from each category and assigning it to img data. We'll, we will be using two loops. First loop to cycle each category and second loop to cycle each style in a category. For randomly picking style, we are using math.random function. When the iteration of inner loop is equal to the random number, we are adding that styles location to a random dict we have created. After the loop, we will be dynamically importing images of the randomly selected styles and change the img data. Now the last and final import and export. Assign it to random buttons on click. And open the browser and let's check whether it works or not. Nice, it works. That's it. Congratulations, you have completed the project. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up.